for radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice, and he's the legendary judge, Will Matthews. So we're gonna serve court here today, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna be the bailiff, and
Okay.
knock knock, Judge Will Matthews. Will you please stand up, Coach Will Matthews? The court is now in session. And Will, you're going to be serving court today in Pike County, Alabama.
Actually, I'm a lawyer today. Now, next Wednesday, I'm going to be judge, so I'll be up here as judge next Wednesday. Matt's got a conflict in a case, so I'm coming up here to do court for him. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah, no question. Matt's originally from Birmingham and got sort of lucky. He married one of those Campbell girls, the Campbell girl.
Well, his predecessor, Nick Severo, was judge here at least 25 years.
Oh gosh,
and we've been knowing each other forever. And Nick retired from judgeship and let Matt take over, and he's doing a good job with it.
Of course, Will's from out here at Ozark, so all you Ozark people say, "Hey, this is the guy we've been hearing on radio."
And you know, Ozark people watch this show, Mike. Lots of them.
I hope so. Of course, Mike Bearfield is watching today, and there's no question. In my mind, Mike Bearfield's got the best men's and women's clothing store in Alabama. I really believe that. You go in his store in Ozark on the square, and you'll see things that you can't stay away from. I mean, the way I don't know who buys for that store, probably Mike.
He does.
The clothing is just outstanding. It reminds me of an old Rosenberg.
Yeah, I love that.
This white button-down shirt I've got, I buy these from Mike.
Yeah, 100% cotton.
Oh yeah, they're nice, and this is what I wear. I wear these white button-down shirts with my master's tie.
Now we have something on this thing that makes me look like I got a beard. I hope that's not the case going out in TV land, but
I've got a beard.
But Will Matthews, known for all of his radio antics, and you called in on radio for years, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he's a sportsman just like we are, and of course, something on a very solemn note. Today is 9/11, and we pay homage to all the men and women that lost their lives during 7/11, but 9/11, but also the families, and the many people that were closely involved in that situation. And where were you during 9/11? Do you know where you were, Mike?
Yeah, I was living in Birmingham, Alabama, and I think I was going to school at UAB and working at Highlands Golf Course. I'll never forget, I was asleep, and my sister called and woke me up, and I was going into work at the golf course that afternoon, and when it happened, I just assumed nobody would come and play golf, but I guess people were just so shocked they didn't know what to do. So we actually had tons of people playing golf that day. I was kind of shocked, but it was just still to this day, just I almost felt like I was watching a movie or something. It didn't seem real.
Where were you, Rice? Where were you?
To save money, I just moved back in with my mom and dad when I had the Troy Citizen, and so I had a little apartment at that house, and I rarely turned on the TV when I woke up. I didn't watch the Today Show, but for some reason that morning I woke up and I turned on the TV, and the Today Show was on, and they had a shot of one of the towers burning and said a plane had crashed into it. I thought it was be some little plane, not a big jet. So of course that captured my attention, and I'm watching whoever the hostess is talk about it for about 5 minutes, and there, right on live TV, I see the second plane crash into the...
I think at first that most people thought it was just an accident. The first
That's right, that's what I thought.
So when that second plane came through there,
so I saw the second plane hit on live TV, and, it was... what's more interesting in my story is my little brother Bobby worked in Washington, D.C. for Gannett, or actually just over the border in Virginia. Gannett's headquarters is in Virginia. in a real tall building, and he heard the explosion and saw the smoke of the plane crashing into the Pentagon. I mean, he heard it, and then he turned over, and then he just saw a big mushroom cloud of flames from the airplane hitting the Pentagon.
Yeah. No question. Where were you, Will?
I actually had surgery the day before, and I was back at my house the next day.
Surgery? What kind of surgery, man?
Well, actually, I had it's a weird story.
Oh well,
but I had a brain tumor, and they cut me from way up here. You can probably still see the scar, Bill. It went way down here, and it was a miracle the thing didn't get into my skull, or I'd be dead. I wouldn't be sitting here. But when the doctor removed it, he just went in there and pulled it out. I didn't have to have chemo or anything. It was not malignant. It was a benign brain tumor.
All those years, though, of playing golf without a hat on, probably.
That's probably where it came from. But anyway, I was watching Fox and Friends when it happened, and unlike Bill, I said, somebody did that on purpose. Mm-hmm. There ain't no way a plane can get into New York. Yeah. They've got air traffic control people. They do not let anybody fly over New York. Yeah. You don't do that.
You know, this plane came from Boston.
Right.
That's where everybody got on the plane.
That's right. They hijacked 2 planes out of Boston. 3 planes.
I was doing the show like I'm doing it right now, and Steve came out, and I believe it was Steve, and told me that you ought to change the channel, and I told, and once I knew what it was, I told everybody that was watching me to change the channel that hey, a plane had just hit one of the big skyscrapers in New York,
right.
But at the time I was still thinking it was an accident, you know, that
I thought it was right off the bat. I said somebody did this on purpose.
Right. Yeah, and then when that second plane hit, then we knew something was terribly bad.
Finish your story, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I watched the whole thing. I never, all day I just was glued to it.
I didn't go to work that day either. I watched the coverage all day.
You know me, I ask people questions all the time, and I was doing a thing for President Trump down in Panama City, and Rudy Giuliani was there, and I talked to him. I said, Mayor, let me ask you. I want to ask you about 9/11, and this is what he told me at 9/11. He heard about it. They called him. He went straight there. Rudy Giuliani. He went down there. Yeah. And the first tower had been hit. The second tower had not been hit. They set up a command post with him, the police chief, and the fire chief at a building that was about 2 or 3 blocks away. Okay? And they go in this building. It was a Merrill Lynch thing. And he said they went up there, and the Merrill Lynch people were nice. They let them have an office there to call people. And he called the White House. First thing he did. Well, he called the White House, and the president wasn't there. So he talked to Dick Cheney. And Dick Cheney told him, he said, look, we think we're under attack in Washington, too.
This was just after the first plane.
First plane, not the second plane. Yeah. And we're fixing to evacuate the White House. He said, okay, well, I'll, be in touch or whatever. So they were in this building, and so the second plane hits. And he said he knew right then they were at war. This was bad. And when the first building went down, the mayor and the police chief and the fire chief were trapped in this building.
Oh, man.
They were absolutely trapped.
There was smoke everywhere.
Smoke everywhere. They could not breathe.
And he thought a lot of people had not suffocated.
That's right. He thought, here I am, and I'm fixing to get suffocated. I got to find a way out. There was a janitor in there that saved their life. And the janitor had keys to all the offices or whatever, and they went out the other side of the building. Yeah. And by the time they got out the other side of the building, the other building had been hit. Yeah. And then it went down, and the rest is history. It was just a mess.
I had had, had you ever eaten at the
Windows of the World?
Yeah, Windows of the World. I ate there, and this was the counter right here. I was right up against it. I just we could look over, and you know, this was the largest building in New York at the time. But I used to eat there when I go up there on vacation or visit.
I mean, didn't it turn out that a couple of the terrorists were like trained in down at Fort Rucker to fly?
No, it's down in Florida, Michael, somewhere at a flying school in Miami. They took lessons.
And the crazy thing,
a more local connection for some reason.
The crazy thing about it, on into to their training, there was a question one day about how you land the plane, and the guy said, "I don't care how you land the plane."
Yeah, they didn't care about that.
It was actually a quote.
Oh, yeah.
That shouldn't have been a red flag.
I know it. And, of course, the sad thing is, the sad,
Could have been worse.
You know, the real sad thing about a lot of this, people that had offices and were on ground floor, and were looking up at the building. Hundreds of people dove out of the building to keep from being burned alive.
Oh yeah, they were in the upper part.
I mean, they dove, and said, "Hey, I'd rather die this way," and they jumped on and fell.
Well, and then the thing is, their families were able to get their bodies. Unlike, I don't think they're covered. Hundreds of people
I'm
just
sure a lot of them
disintegrated.
no question about it.
Yeah.
Especially those certain floors. The people up top. The sad thing about all of this, the people up top, I don't know how many floors it was, 10, 12, 15 floors.
Yeah.
They knew that they were going to die. And they got on the phone and talked to their relatives and whatever. And, that happened in many cases.
It could have been worse. They could have hit it. It was early in the morning. Everybody hadn't got to work yet. The buildings collapsed after about 40 minutes of burning, so most people got out of the buildings. And then the heroes in the third plane that hijacked the terrorist plane kept it from crashing into either the White House or the Capitol.
Yeah. Or the Pentagon, either one or the other one.
Well, one of them hit the Pentagon. Then there were 4 planes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the famous "Let's roll" speech where the guy, and several other passengers attacked the terrorists, and the plane went down to Pennsylvania, didn't it?
Right.
Have y'all seen that movie? I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it. It was good.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
United 93,
Yeah,
I think.
a local kid from Troy was working at the World Trade Center and actually just didn't go in that day. I remember a good friend of Camille's, Jason Hutto from Troy.
That's right.
Was working at the World Trade Center and just didn't go in that day, or had to go work out, had something else before he was going in later that day or something.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it was, and then, like you said, those men that attacked the hijackers and caused them to crash the plane.
I mean, didn't it turn out they basically hijacked the planes with box cutters? That's all they had.
That's all they had, and they had pretend bombs strapped to them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And people thought they were real, and whatever. So.
Now that could never happen again, because the first time some terrorists present themselves, everybody in the plane is going to attack them, even if they're 90-year-old grandmothers, don't you think?
Well, they had the the undercover FBI people on the planes most of the time, don't they? What are they called?
Sky marshals.
Sky marshals.
They've got some of those, but
there's still something that is out there that.
Tell you what, you will not see an Israeli plane hijacked, because they've got armed people on there. They'll shoot the crap out of them if somebody starts something.
I say you reinforce the cockpit door and let the pilots be
They've
armed.
done that. Yeah, they've done that.
And it's they're going to have to come up with another tactic or strategy, which you still think that instead of hijacking a plane, why don't you just get the plane from the get-go? Some commercial plane that you lease or something.
How did it make y'all feel? It made me feel like, the whole world was on fire. What I'm saying, it was just such a tragic thing,
Well, a bunch of helpless people,
Of course, it shut down America for a long time that day, and
well, it's still been...
all of the airplanes were completely stopped. Isn't that right?
Oh yeah, I was supposed to fly to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was working on a case for the Williams Corporation, which is in Oklahoma City, and I was supposed to fly to Tulsa, and they had just stopped all the airline travel for like a week.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
The repercussions are still being felt today. We're still at war with Afghanistan 18 years later.
Oh yeah, it won't ever stop.
People are dying in Afghanistan right now because of that.
Well, you know how hard it is now to go through an airport and get to a plane. Just think how simple it would have been years ago to done what these guys have done. You know, there was no protection at all, and you know everybody, you know, writes and says, "I hate going through all this," but thank goodness we've got a system now that keeps these folks away.
I think it's unnecessary. I think we become like sheeple, and they tell us what to do, and you line up like sheep, and you know the metal detector and common sense screen for people that look like they're Muslims would be, but all this frisking grandma and handicapped kids, I don't get it, because I swear if somebody stands up and screams that saying they always scream, the first instant they do that, every person on that plane is going to, you know, make like Lawrence Taylor and tackle that person.
I hope so.
Exactly right.
So it's overkill. I get why you're doing it, but I don't think that you really need to do it personally.
This show is brought to you by Chick-fil-A, a Chick-fil-A of Will Matthews land.
That's right.
He's in here eating sandwiches and
we don't have one in Ozark.
And hey, he hadn't offered me a sausage or biscuit or anything, but Will Matthews comes in here today and he is sponsored by Chick-fil-A this morning.
That's right.
Was Will Matthews excited about that Saint comeback win as much as you were?
Boy, did you watch that game, Will?
Oh, absolutely.
That was the best football game I think I've ever seen.
But you know, they got screwed before the end of the first half out of about 10 or 15
Oh, yeah,
seconds.
they sure did.
And nobody said anything till like way into the end of the game. Nobody ever said anything.
Yeah, what it was, then of course they were trying to set up for a field goal. New Orleans was, you know, at the end of the half, and it was really the guy ought to be fired because it was an elementary thing. I mean, there was no everybody in the stadium knew they had messed up except them.
Yeah,
you know,
and they had instant replay. They should have seen that, you know, what happened.
Well, I mentioned, of course, Will is here on court, and of course, here comes the judge. Here comes the judge who will be serving on court. Now, if people want to sit in and watch your court hearings, can they do that?
Oh yeah, but I'm not the judge today.
I know, but is that public?
Every court's public, yeah.
Anybody can go in and sit down.
Certainly.
And boy, I tell you one thing now, in Troy, Alabama, you're not going to get away with carrying anything in that you're not supposed to carry in.
No, they search you.
I hate to even go in there to do business because I got to empty all my pockets. And Mike, you know, I've got a lot. My pockets are always full of something.
Well,
I've got about 4 or 5 pair of reading glasses.
You got a lot more than 4 or 5 pair.
Well,
his pockets are a trail of money. A lot of times he comes to my house and just dollar bills fall out while he walks.
Well, I probably do carry way too much in my pockets, but when you go to the courthouse, you got to empty every bit of it. Even you, Will.
Mike has got eyeglasses, 4 or 5 eyeglasses at 10 places.
Oh yeah, no question about it. $1 eyeglasses, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give them a plug this morning. The Dollar Tree, $1 reading glasses.
Hey, that's a good deal.
And I buy 10 at a time.
I would like to be the Tennessee fan base, and Jeremy Pruitt's quote yesterday is he compares Tennessee football to the Titanic.
Oh no!
Let them lose to Chattanooga Saturday, and you'll see how quick they do something.
Boy, somebody's gonna cut his hair if he don't watch it.
He was
You think Philip Fulmer's going to be the coach after they lose to Chattanooga?
That's the rumor.
Mike, y'all have heard it from me from the get-go that he'll run that program. Philip Fulmer is not one of these guys going to sit back with his hands sitting on his hands. He might have already taken over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you know, Tennessee hadn't been any good since Philip Fulmer left, had they?
No. I'll tell you something interesting about Philip. Philip was coaching at Vandy when I was at Vandy, and he was a line coach there. And Bill Parcells.
For those of you that don't know Vandy, it's Vanderbilt.
But Bill Parcells was on the staff there at that time.
Oh yeah.
Steve Sloan was the coach, And when Steve Sloan, Vandy played in a bowl game, and they played Texas Tech in Atlanta in the old Fulton County Stadium in the Atlanta Bowl, Peach Bowl. Well, it rained and rained. I mean, it was awful, and it was a quagmire. And the game ended tied 6-6.
Well, excuse me now. What is a quagmire?
I mean, it's a mud puddle.
Okay.
I mean, it was just a mud puddle. And so neither team made a touchdown. There was 4 field goals kicked in the game. So it was 6-6. After the game, Steve Sloan got hired by Texas Tech
right.
and ended up going to Texas Tech.
I remember he coached there because
But
Bud
Phillip-
Casey coached with him then.
Yeah, Phillip did not go with him. And Phillip ended up going to Tennessee with Majors and ended up taking Majors' place.
And some people say he had shady methods to.
Well, Majors was in the hospital with a heart attack. And they say Farmer did a coup on him while he was laying in the hospital.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Hey, look at our.
Yeah, I mean, Fulmer was just an offensive line coach.
No, there he is there.
He was.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's an AD at Tennessee that's probably going to. But we don't want him mentioned while a guy, his wife's from out here at Banks.
Phillip's 69.
We're pulling for the Tennessee coach now because his wife is from.
I tell you what, if his wife's daddy gets upset, old Philip Fulmer better head for high ground, buddy.
Well, I don't think.
We're
They gotta
talking about
pay-
Pike County, Alabama, Philip. Don't be messing with our people now.
They got to pay Jeremy $10 million.
Let's go down there the rest of their games. Let's see what do you think their record's going
All
to be.
right, we'll do it.
All right, 3 at the most.
They got Chattanooga
Win.
next.
Win.
Then they have a game at Florida.
Loss.
Then Georgia comes to town.
Loss.
Mississippi State at Tennessee.
Loss.
Borderline there, but I'd say lost.
Mississippi State will kill them.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
you got Tennessee at Alabama.
Loss.
You got South Carolina
Loss.
against Tennessee.
Loss.
Yeah, yeah.
Then this is, I think, also a possible loss. UAB at
Loss.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
They'll lose to them too.
You got Tennessee at Kentucky.
Loss.
Of course, Kentucky's new quarterback is Sawyer Smith, the Troy transferred.
Coach Sawyer, two touchdown
and
passes.
then you got Tennessee at Missouri, loss.
Loss.
You're right.
And then to end the season, you got Vanderbilt at Tennessee. Vanderbilt's won 3 in a row.
That'll be 4 in a row.
Boy, isn't that amazing?
I mean, maybe 3 wins.
Yeah. I don't believe he's got a chance, y'all, and I hate it.
He'll be gone, and they'll have to pay him $10
I was
million.
surprised, and now let me tell you this, and he's a good coach, no question. But I was surprised that he got the job in the first place. I mean, Tennessee hiring an assistant coach from Alabama, that was really, just known mainly as the defensive coach. I wouldn't have ever thought he'd be a head coach.
I'll say this though, they look like they
In the SEC.
They look like they improved against BYU. They had the game under control. They won the stat battle. So maybe they'll improve.
BYU is a funny school. Do you agree, Will? I mean, they are hard to figure. And
They're one of the
one thing they do play is hard nosed.
You got the Big Five and the Little Five, and they're probably one of the best 4 teams in the Little Five.
Yeah.
You got Boise, Houston, UCF,
And Troy.
And I wouldn't put Troy in there, but
This guy right here, you know what he said,
Memphis
Mike?
is good, yeah.
You know what Will said yesterday? He said, "Can you believe Troy is favored over Southern Miss?"
I'm shocked.
The line has been dropping now.
They ought to be favored because they've, it's one of those things. They beat Southern Miss 2 or 3 years ago at Southern Miss.
Yeah, wasn't that long ago. It was in a driving rainstorm too.
I think so.
Yeah, Southern Miss's top player is this kid named Jalen Adams, this receiver out of Minor High School of Birmingham. And on signing day, for about an hour, he had signed with Troy, and then he decommitted on signing day and went to Southern Miss. And turns out he's the best player at Southern Miss right now. So Troy's going to have to find a way to stop him.
Exactly right. And of course,
What about Bill Battle when he came to Tennessee as head coach? I mean, he was an Alabama graduate, played at Alabama. Was he coaching at Alabama too, or what?
He He's coaching at Oklahoma, I think.
Yeah, or either Oklahoma or Pittsburgh. One of the other.
He had a great record too, but he never beat Alabama.
See, he couldn't beat Alabama or Auburn. He had a hard time.
He was the youngest coach in America.
Yeah.
And doing my research for my book, I was surprised to see what his record was. His winning percentage was really good.
Great.
Very
He had a great record.
And it's so surprising that nobody else picked him up. And then he went into private business, and the rest is history.
The game that turned his career around badly, they had Alabama beat one year in Knoxville, and they're ahead like 14-7. Mm-hmm. And Alabama hadn't done anything all day, and Tennessee had the ball and turned it over, and Alabama tied it, and then they won it 21-14. And that was that. His career spiraled after that because they had Alabama beat.
Of course, he recruited Richmond Flowers, got Richmond Flowers to come. He had signed one of Alabama's great quarterbacks, a young man named Condridge Holloway.
Yeah, Richmond's from Dothan.
And he had a running back named Haskell Standback. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And they had a wide receiver named Sievers that was great. Tennessee back then wore those pale orange jerseys. They brighten them up now. But back then you could watch them on black white TV, and they didn't have to change their jerseys because they were so light.
Bill Dottle went 59, 22, and 2.
That's pretty good.
59 what?
59, 22, and 2.
Yeah.
So what's that winning percentage? Is over 70%, I guess.
It was down to Battle was mentioned for the Alabama job. So was Steve Sloan was mentioned. Of course, he was Coach Bryant's favorite. Steve Sloan was. He was sort of like a preacher, Mm-hmm.
But Steve Sloan, and they told Steve Sloan, he came to Ole Miss, and they told Steve Sloan, because you have done this, you have ended your chance of coming to Alabama.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
And now, let me tell you, Will, and only you would know this, Will. He's probably the best golfer to ever play in the SEC, ever coach in the SEC. Wouldn't you say, or would you say Spurrier was?
Spurrier. I've played with Spurrier. I played with Sloan.
You have. Wait a minute. Before long, you're going to tell us you played with Trump.
I've never played with Trump, but I played with Coach Sloan when he was at Vanderbilt. I played golf with him, and I played golf with Spurrier on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
And Spurrier's a very good golfer.
This show is brought to you by Premier, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass in Troy. Believe you me, they'll beat anybody's price on a automobile, whether it's Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, or Ram truck. They can get you any vehicle you want at the best price you'll find anywhere at Premier, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and
Philip Fulmer had a great record. His record was 152 and 52.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, Alabama had trouble beating him. He beat Alabama, 8 straight times? How many times he beat Alabama?
I think he beat Alabama at least 6 in a row.
6 in a row. Who did this? Who that guy that did this right here and had those T-shirts
Fear the thumb?
with the hand out there showing 6? Who did that?
He's running for Senate right now.
Any Alabama fan that would vote for that guy needs to be put in prison.
Well, you put me in prison because I'm going to vote for him.
Wait a minute now.
I'm voting for
This
him.
is the same guy, ladies and gentlemen, talking over there that shook the hand of a man that shook the hand of Donald Trump. Is that right?
Well, I've shaken Donald Trump's hand.
No way. When did you shake his hand?
The day after his nomination in Cleveland.
You saw him the day after his nomination?
Had breakfast with him. My son worked for him.
Wait a minute. You didn't shake his hand, though, did you?
Yeah.
What kind of fella was
Your
he?
son's not still working for him?
Absolutely he is. He is the liaison to the agriculture department for the president.
Well, let me ask you a personal question, Will. Did he give you a firm handshake?
Absolutely.
Did he look you straight in the eyes?
Absolutely. He's a good guy.
And you knew then that guy you wanted to be president of the United States.
Tell you what he told my son. This was before the election. Now, before he got elected.
He said something directly to your son?
Well, my son worked for him. My son ran his campaign in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that he would stoop so low to talk to a peon.
He told my son, he said, and I don't want to cuss on TV, but he said, "You are the hardest working SOB I have ever seen." This was before the election now.
Son of a banker.
Yes. And if I lose this thing, you've got a job in my organization
Son
the
of
rest
a
of your
baker's
life.
man, yeah.
So, you know, that's what he thought about David, and David's been working for him. David got sworn in 30 minutes after the president did.
And David grew up probably faster than any human being has ever grown up. He was working, sweeping the floors at your law firm for a long time, and then he talked you into going to the convention. You weren't even going.
I was. This is what happened. I was elected statewide as a delegate, and we were having a meeting in Montgomery before the convention, and it was in March.
This was a delegate to the Republican.
Yeah, and it was March of 2016. I didn't want to go. I was going to call in. Most people called in. They had a thing, you know, you could call into the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, may I have your attention, please?
So anyway, I go there, and Jeff Sessions is there, and they had steaks, and it was nice. And so I'm sitting there next to Jeff.
They had steaks.
Yeah, it was at the agriculture place up there, whatever it was. And so anyway, I'm sitting next to Jeff, my son's sitting there, and Jeff said, "I like your son. I think he ought to go work for the campaign." And I said, "Well, he doesn't know anything about working in a campaign." He said, "Well, I think he'd be good." So Sessions reaches in his coat pocket, pulls out his cell phone, and guess who he calls on the phone?
Not Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
No way.
And Donald Trump says, "Can he be in Wisconsin tomorrow?" And I said, "I'll get him there." So I took him to Tallahassee, Florida. He got on a plane at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wait a minute now. You're trying to tell me that Donald Trump said, David, I want you to come to Wisconsin.
Yeah. And so he flew to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. That's where Trump was that day.
Yeah.
Met with him. Trump sent him to Pittsburgh, and they gave him a hotel room, a vehicle, paid him a salary, and got him an office there. He started an office there. When he left Pittsburgh, he had 1,500 unpaid volunteers for Trump. He was the only paid person. And Trump won every single county in Pennsylvania in the primary.
Yeah.
So he comes back home, and they want to send him to Florida. That's where they want to send David. And this guy fixing to go to prison, this Manafort guy, he said, "You're going to Florida." And he said, "No, I'm not going to Florida. I met this girl. He's met this girl in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And he ain't going to Florida. He'll work in Pennsylvania, but he ain't going to Florida."
So the rest of the story is,
well, the rest of the story is, I know, I will get to that. So Manafort gets fired, and this Kellyanne Conway comes in and takes over. Well, she calls me up on the phone, and she said, "Mr. Matthews, your son's refusing to go to Florida." I said, "He's not going to Florida. I know my son. He's met this girl. He's in love with her. He ain't leaving her, and he ain't going to Florida. You can forget it. You get somebody else to do Florida." He said he'll do Pennsylvania. And she said, "Well, we can't win Pennsylvania. We're 14 points behind the polls." And I said, "My son says you can win Pennsylvania." He says, "Just like Alabama, everything west of Philadelphia is just like Alabama." He said, "They'll vote for Trump." Well, the rest is history. She kept him in Pennsylvania. He ran the campaign for Pennsylvania. 29 years old now.
And he really had not had much political experience.
But he learned quick, and he ended up, they won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. Guess how many votes Obama had won 4 years before in Pennsylvania?
How much?
600,000 votes.
Isn't that amazing?
So that's a pretty big turnaround between.
And that was one of the key swing states.
It was that one. Yeah, that was the key. That was the one that won him the election.
And he talked you into going to Cleveland, or you wouldn't even gone.
No, I was already going to Cleveland. I was already elected.
All right. Well, and of course.
So now we'll get to this.
You just happened to ride with you.
So we go to Cleveland, and David's with me, and
hold on one second. We'll put you on hold a second. And we're going to go here
That's probably next.
to here to here. And from, let's see, he's on hold too. Here to here to here. All right, we got everybody on. Is that right now? Max Howell, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. All right, we'll continue your story.
Okay, so the convention ends on Thursday night, or Wednesday night. Let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I think it's Thursday morning, the day after the convention. David said, we got to go to the Westin Hotel. I got to pick up some stuff. I said, okay. So we go to the Westin Hotel, and he doesn't tell me this, but Trump had his key people have breakfast with him, and he slipped me in, and we went in there and had breakfast with Pence and Trump the day after he got the nomination.
Oh, boy.
And that's the only time I've met Trump.
Will, now, all these folks in Ozark are hearing all this now.
They know, they already heard it.
Somebody told me that he said you were playing golf out at the Dothan Country Club.
What?
I'm being facetious. But isn't it amazing?
But anyway, David has worked for the president.
He's in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, yeah. He's the liaison to the agriculture department.
Well, that's great.
And he's been there for, well, since...
And he married this girl?
He married the girl. They had a baby August of last year. And then they had the government shutdown, around Christmas.
Yeah.
He got her pregnant again. She's supposed to have a baby any day now. So they're going to have 2 little girls within a year of each other.
It's expensive.
Oh, man.
Washington, D.C.
It is. He's living in Reston, Virginia. He was living in Arlington.
It is amazing. I tell you one thing I knew about him. He was sharp, and that's
Oh, yeah.
impressed everybody.
Where did he go to high school and college?
He went to Carroll High, and then he went to Alabama. And when he got out of Alabama, he was working for Kenny Stabler, had a restaurant in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa called the 12.
Okay.
He ran his restaurant, and he was just barely getting by or whatever. And I told him, I said, look, you come down and live with me, and I'll give you a job. And we taught him how to be a paralegal. I had me and him and my daughter ran our law office, and he loved it. Yeah. Until he started working for Trump. Now he loves working for the president.
Isn't it amazing? And it's amazing, no question about it.
Oh, let me tell Max will like this. He got 13,000 people to vote in the general election that had never voted in their lives, and every one of them voted for Trump. Guess who they were?
Who?
Amish people.
Oh, be dang.
The Amish people did not vote because if they voted, they had to be on juries, and they didn't believe in judging people.
Yeah.
Well, I told my son, he asked me about it, I said, look, all they got to do is tell the judge they don't believe in judging people, they won't ever be on a jury.
Exactly.
So he got all these people registered, and they bust them. Yeah. These people didn't even have electricity. They didn't even have TV sets.
And they made all their goods, they sell them on the side of the road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is something I think a lot of people are thinking about right now. You were good friends with Jeff Sessions.
Very good.
All right. What happened with Sessions and Trump? A lot of this, are they still friends, or what's the deal there?
Well, Sessions still supports Trump, but this is what got Sessions. Sessions is a very moral guy. I've known him for 40 years. And Trump wanted him to do something that Sessions felt like was unethical. Yeah. He wanted him to handle that investigation. And it would be kind of unethical for him being involved in the campaign to investigate the president. It would look like he would, cover up.
So people in the know knew that Sessions, did what was right.
Right, he did what was right. He recused himself, and Trump never forgave him for it, and that's why he ended up getting canned.
Didn't Trump fire somebody yesterday? Bolton?
Yeah, he fired Bolton. I was surprised Bolton ever got in there.
Well, thank goodness.
He's a liberal Democrat.
Yeah. No question about it.
He's just such a... He's so gung-ho to start all these new wars, which is what Trump campaigned against.
What are you, Max Howell? What are you?
You get into politics?
You're a conservative Democrat, is that right?
I was a conservative, and I worked in George Wallace's campaign, where I got my initial induction, because I was on the Troy payroll with Ralph Adams.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And then after that, in '72, I was one of the delegates to the Republican convention. I was on the bus right when they turned the bus over in Miami.
Golly, Max, I was just joking. I didn't know that you had gone through all of this.
I got to tell you what, I got more votes in the state of Alabama than Red Blunt did. So,
did you really?
That was the way I got. That's when I was in the private school association.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Because I used all that. We had 6.
You did a lot of lobbying too, didn't you?
Yeah, we mobilized those guys. I can tell you. But anyway, it was a good incident, and now I'm back into that side of it in the state of Mississippi, trying to get the hemp bill passed.
Yeah.
I've become basically a lobbyist over here. I was in a statewide meeting this past week and been elected to the board over here to try to get this thing pushed through. And the next legislative session starts in January.
Yeah. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi. Michael Amos Jr. calling in from Drayton Beach, and Will Matthews is joining us today. So we got all 5 of our guys on the air right now.
Talking politics. I was a political science major, so I enjoy this.
Bill Rice Jr. is on.
What's the latest on Mississippi State's quarterback Tommy Stevens that got injured against Southern Miss? Will he play this week?
They don't know. They've not released anything on him. I think he'll probably play. The young freshman Kenyon Schrader came in and did a good job against Southern Miss this past weekend. And all the reports I've got, and the latest one was yesterday afternoon late. They just aren't releasing anything, even to the point where maybe a knee or an ankle is what it was. And they probably think he can play when they start. They got Kansas State coming in this weekend. They're a pretty physical bunch. If they think they can win without him, they'll hold him out.
Kansas State's got their new coach that came over from North Dakota State.
Right.
Oh, I tell you what, look out for them too. They're pretty good.
And they got a player that's got Troy roots, the offensive lineman that played
that's
at
right.
MA.
He's my preacher's grandson.
Right.
Yeah, Mac Lowry.
Yeah, Mac Lowry.
Max can remember when Kansas State used to go 0 and whatever every year. They were awful.
Yeah, that's right.
Before Bill Snyder.
But see what they did, guys. They jumped off into the junior college program. And if you check their roster the last 3 or 4 years when they started winning, I'm going to say 65% with the transfer students and or junior college guys. And they didn't go after. But look, you ever tried to go to Manhattan, Kansas?
Yeah, you know what? I've been there one time for a Troy game, and I asked him before the game. I said, "Do y'all think y'all have a big crowd?" He said, "I don't know. It's the first day of pheasant season."
Yeah, that's right. That's just like dove season down here.
And then they have that old rock. What we used to call that rock in Alabama, that white rock.
Limestone?
Yeah, all of it was, the whole school was built with that kind of stuff. Yeah. No question.
I don't know. I think to answer your question, I think, if they hold them out and think they win, they'll do it. They're still going through that, that having to hold out 2 or 3 every ball game. So it's going to be interesting.
Kansas State's been impressive their first 2 games, though. I mean, they haven't played anybody good, but I know they've rolled up a lot of points and yards.
No
So,
question.
who's responsible for the probation at Mississippi State? Under Mullen was the probation, or under Moorhead?
No, it's all under the board. This all was academic stuff recently.
Okay.
This just happened the last 2 years.
But no bowl ban?
No bowl ban. It was all the counselor situation where she was typing and doing papers for all the players.
She was doing work
And and how smart she was. She used the same computer to the same professor for 5 different papers.
Oh, God.
I mean, it wasn't very well orchestrated, to say the least.
Max, the statute of limitations had run on me, but I used to do papers for football players at Vanderbilt that were my roommates.
But look, I've been in charge of some of those people before at a couple of universities, and it's all the way you handle that. And it depends on the professor on top of that. Usually you try to get them, in professors' classes that are favorable to athletics at least, that they give kids a shot. But sometimes that doesn't work out based on the nature. So anyway, they got by. They ended up, I think 10 players had to sit 8 games. They've gone through 2 now, and they're picking them off one at a time. They'll let no more than 3 or 4 sit, depending on who they're playing. And some games they won't let anybody sit.
I'm wondering if those players are going to be back by the Alabama game. That's what I care about.
Well, they're going to play. this is one of two things. If they think there's any way, if Alabama, if Tua gets hurt again, they got to go with a number 2 quarterback or whatever. They think they got a chance. They may play those kids. They know they ain't got a chance. But what's the difference in getting beat by 40 or 10? There's no difference. You get beat, you get beat. So I'd hate to be sitting in that circumstance because that's no win for Morty. The team's playing better than they did last year, but I think it was based on Tommy Stevens more than anything else. So the Thompson kid got demoted when he said he was going to go in the portal and transfer. He's down to number 3 now, and he may never see the light of day again on the roster. But bottom line is, if Tommy Stevens doesn't play this week, we trade him.
Max, what do you think is going to happen to Jeremy if they lose to Chattanooga?
Oh my goodness!
I don't think he'll survive a day.
No, I mean they've got a mess on their hands up there. I just got a note this morning. The guy in Knoxville would be on there with him this afternoon. So I don't know. I really thought he had the program turned, and I thought everything was in line. They ended up, particularly after they slipped in and beat Auburn last year. I really thought they were on the way. But something's happened inside because I've heard now they got all kind of conflicts with players and with coaches and everything else. Rumors get out. When you start going downhill.
I've not talked to Charles Kelly since he left Tennessee, but I know he was thrilled to get out of that and go to Alabama.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that was the case. It's something else going on. But it has been. It's not just been in the athletic department. Go back and check the academic side. They've had 3 chancellors, 3 athletic directors, and 3 coaches now, all in the last 5 or 6 years.
It's
awful.
They
had the upheaval with the board of trustees, with the Haslins on it. I mean, it was when Bill was governor. I mean, you can go back and research it. And then on top of that, there were $5 million in debt at one particular time.
Yeah.
So who's the worst hire right now, Jeremy Pruitt or Freddie Kitchens for the Cleveland Browns?
Look at that, Jeremy.
NFL, it mattered to me what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Freddie Kitchens had a horrible debut as a head coach.
Yeah. I tell you what, Jeremy comes from Sand Mountain, Alabama, but that's about as rural as you're going to get.
Well, if you go back and check his record, guys, his track record to get there was excellent. Mm-hmm. It started off at Hoover High School, went from there to Alabama as a backfield coach, then on to Florida State's coordinator, Georgia coordinator, back to Alabama coordinator, went everywhere he was.
Well, he won a national championship as a coordinator at FSU.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he went to Georgia, and Georgia had Rick's problem was always defense. Rick always had decent offense. Well, Jeremy did a good job with their defense, and then Rick got fired.
Well, and so is it a track record of being right place, right time because of talent, or how much contribution did he really make?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's all questionable right there.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Mississippi State's got the best running back in the SEC.
Yeah,
he's good.
They ain't played anybody yet either, Michael. Come on.
Yeah.
There's a real good article.
You can't measure, guys. You can't measure even Jalen in Oklahoma. You can't measure those 136 points or whatever he's got against good competition. But they ain't got any competition yet. You only measure when they play. Let's measure when Alabama and LSU play. Now we can get a chance to see really 2 good football teams challenging each other.
Did you watch Oklahoma, Arkansas?
Yeah, I've watched some of it. That's 2 of the worst teams in the league. OS's defense is a little bit better. You got to give it to them, but Rod Rivers still hasn't found the niche completely. Arkansas, if they win 2, they'll be fortunate again. So
I don't see the Arkansas guys surviving after this year.
Well, you know what? Well, I said the same thing, but one of my business partners is the videographer for the athletic department. So I talk to him once a week. He's at practice every day, and he told me going in that there wasn't going to be any better. And I said, I made the same statement. Somewhere in that contract, though, according to that source, said that he gets to step on the field and coach 3 years regardless of his record.
Oh, really?
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I think they were so happy to get rid of Bielema that they may have put that in the contract, to tell you the truth. So I don't know. I'm like you. I didn't think if the performance
that guy? Where did Bielema end up, or did he end up?
It's with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's a good position coach. No question about it. Of course, good article in the.
He got $11 million from Fed.
We're talking to Max Howell, of course, very well-known sports analyst, and of course hails out of Fulton, Mississippi, and of course is on the phone with a lot of different sports talk shows. You know, Coach Saban came on the air the other night and said, we'll play anybody. Well, the word got to Troy Athletic Director Brent Jones, and he said, call me. He said, I really can't speak for any other schools, but Jones said he would be glad to play Alabama if they could work it out, you know. So, you know.
Well, Alabama's not the only one. Arkansas will play Arkansas State or Central Arkansas. And, you know, in a lot of states, it gets inside.
I agree.
When I was at Ole Miss, there ain't no way they'd play Southern Miss, regardless. Mississippi State does.
Yeah.
Ole Miss won't play them. They got some. That's the internal politics that go on.
Max, the legislature in Louisiana passed a law that LSU has to play these places, and they do.
And well, I've always been.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
At Ole Miss because of the money.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, why pay somebody $900,000 $1 million to come in and play? We spent money in state. In particular state as poor as Mississippi is.
Alabama gave New Mexico State $1.7 million. I'd crawl to Tuscaloosa to play them for that kind of money.
Well, I mean, you know, at that level, guys, it's a business decision. You know, it really is. So, and I know the coaches have some input, but that thing is going to the athletic directors because they're the ones that's in charge of budgeting and you know, and handling that. So, you know, it's still, I've said it 1,000 times. I dabble around in the political world in Alabama for a while, but there ain't no place in the country like a college campus to get involved in politics now. I'm going to tell you. Your friends are, you don't know where your enemies are.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more. That's a picture of Max Howell. Max, you were handsome at one time. What happened?
Everybody gets old, Mike.
We'll be back.
The ribbon has been cut, and the grand opening celebration has begun at the all-new Bill Jackson Ford in Troy. Save up to $11,770 off MSRP on a new 2019 F-150 XLT four-wheel drive Super Crew truck during the Hurry Up and Save sales event. Check us out on Highway 231 in Troy or online at BillJacksonFord.com.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance. Whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies, Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Upside down with your vehicle? Bring it! Been told no for a loan? Bring it! Take home $350 a week? Bring it! To Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Troy. New 2019 Ram 1500 at $269 a month. New Wranglers, $299 a month. Think you got the best deal? We'll beat it. What'd you say? We'll beat it. Shop local. Shop PremierTroy.com, where Premier can make a difference during the summer clearance sale. Bring it on! There's a reason we sell more vehicles than anyone else. Price. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
The ribbon has been cut, and the grand opening celebration has begun at the all-new Bill Jackson Ford in Troy. Save up to $11,770 off MSRP on a new 2019 F-150 XLT four-wheel drive Super Crew truck during the Hurry Up and Save Sales event. Check us out on Highway 231 in Troy or online at BillJacksonFord.com.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by our good friends at First Cahaba Bank, located on just off the bypass right here in Troy. And of course, we appreciate
Johnny Witherton Parkway.
Well, they call it Johnny Witherton Parkway, and then Publix Boulevard. I'm gonna call it Publix Boulevard right here in Troy, and beautiful new bank, and of course, great people running it. First Cahaba Bank, located right here in Troy. And let me tell you, if you have not eaten chicken at Goldfinger's, you missed a treat. Their French fries are the best I have ever eaten in my life, and it was wonderful. And of course, their chicken's good, their hamburgers good at Goldfinger's. You ever eaten at Goldfinger's, Will?
Yeah, we got one in Dothan across from my house. It's good.
It sure is, no question about it. And bless Will's heart, he eats out every meal. Is that right, Will?
I'd say probably 95%. I'll pick up something.
You know who else did that?
Who?
Brother Chapman, my cousin.
Ate out every meal.
I don't think he ever ate one meal at his house.
Well, I know at the half shell he had a certain thing that he was getting that wasn't on the menu, and I started to ask him the other day if they still had that because it looked good. Yeah. It was a teriyaki type meal.
I think the half shell was his favorite place.
Yeah.
Well, I've been single for 6 years.
North Carolina against Wake Forest. I have to go on record and say I was totally wrong about Mac Brown. He's done a tremendous job to start the season in North Carolina.
Now let me tell you something. Wake Forest will win the football game. Wake Forest will. Wake Forest. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. It's what.
Wake Forest is 2-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember this. Wake Forest will win the football game. Even though Rice's cousin went to school there and graduated there.
What's the line on that one?
Wake Forest -3.
I think I'll take the 3.
You know, Troy's enrollment is bigger than Wake Forest's enrollment.
I know it is, yeah. It's a private school.
Over-under in the Washington State-Houston game, 75.5.
They'll score 100.
Take the over.
And he's one of my favorite coaches, too. No question about it.
Yeah.
Today is Bear Bryant's birthday on 9/11. Did y'all know that?
I did.
Coach Paul Bear Bryant was born on 9/11 in Fordyce, Arkansas.
You know who else's birthday's 9/11 was? My great friend, late Charles Bradshaw Jr. His birthday was 9/11.
Guess where Coach Bryant married Mary Harmon at?
Banks, Alabama?
Nope.
No, you're not fit to tell us Ozark.
Ozark, Alabama.
Wait a minute. Don't be throwing those stuff like that out of us, Will.
Judge Frank Deese, the probate judge down there, married them.
Wait a minute, you talk about they didn't get married in a church?
No.
You ought to be ashamed of you for bringing that out this morning.
They got married in Ozark by the probate judge, and Mike Barefield's got a copy of the marriage.
Are you serious? Mike Barefield, I'm coming to Barefield just to see that.
You'll see it. It's on his wall. He's got it on his wall.
And where was Mary Harmon from originally?
Troy.
That's right.
There was a great quarterback that worked for Mike Barefield at Barefield's in downtown Ozark. And
Still does.
And then he was called Mike, what do they call him?
You call him the Bogalusa Rifle?
The Bogalusa Rifle, Terry Davis. And he came out in that wishbone, Max. Now
I remember that.
Alabama hid it from him. They should have known they were going to do it because he spent the whole summer out there at Texas with Darrell Royal. And they wasn't Darrell Royal, though, who he went to see. He went to see that assistant coach. What was his name? He was the former head coach of Mississippi State. He's the one that...
Emory Ballard.
Emory Ballard is the father of the wishbone. Is that right, Max?
Yeah, that's right.
The Emory Ballard, who was the Texas assistant coach, and later on he went to Mississippi State.
Nobody really runs the wishbone anymore. Even the triple option teams, they don't have the two running backs behind the fullback. Strange.
What about the Air Force? Air Force doesn't run it?
I don't know. I thought they have these little wing backs, don't they?
Yeah, they get in that double wing. They run out of the double wing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
a lot of that stuff that they run out of the pistol, even the modified eye and all the stuff they do with it from the shotgun is really the blocking up front is basically the same as they did with the wishbone.
I'm gonna ask y'all a trivia question, Max, and you live over in that part of the country. At one time, Mississippi State had two running backs that their names were quite unusual. Do you know who those were?
I can't remember.
All right, one of them was a running back named Ode Burrell. That's look at this guy. Look, they're showing Emery Ballard's picture, and what a handsome guy he was.
Yeah.
And the other one was Hoyle Grange was the other one. He was the fullback. Have you ever heard those two names before, Max?
I remember the quarterback that beat Alabama.
What now? Yeah, they were Cajun names. Ode Burrell and
they didn't play at Mississippi State though.
Yeah, they did too. Ode Burrell and Hoyle Grange played at Mississippi State.
Played at LSU, I believe.
No, you're thinking about Danny LeBlanc and that bunch.
Who cares about
that?
What about Ed Orgeron and LSU going to Texas? That was a huge win for LSU. Were you impressed with that, Max?
Yeah. Well, Well, no, I wasn't. I think I picked that thing. I said they'd cover, and they did by one.
Thanks. I've said all along that LSU was just a quarterback away, and hey, this going to be a heck of a game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I don't think they'll lose till they get to Alabama.
I can't believe Mike sold his tickets. You could probably gotten $1,000 a ticket for the LSU game in Tuscaloosa, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it'll be.
I don't know about that much.
Sold out.
Mike, I guarantee you there'll be people wanting to see that game badly.
There's a chance
the
both be
game
undefeated.
of the century in 2011, I got 400 tickets. I got $800 for 2 tickets. And I sat on the 50-yard line with a girl I was dating at the time, and I look up, and everybody's screaming and hollering, and right above me is LeBron James in the box.
Oh, boy. But,
That's a game Alabama lost in overtime.
Right now,
wasn't it like 9-6 or 12-9, something like that?
Yeah, that's the last time Alabama lost though.
It was awful game.
Yeah, I was there at that one. Yeah, I was that one, but I was in the end zone.
Everybody's excited about Auburn, but you know something, Max? Auburn is yet to score in the first quarter.
Who is excited about Auburn? I hadn't found anybody excited about Auburn.
Auburn has yet to score in the first quarter, so their offense evidently has got a little bit of a problem.
I want everybody to hear my voice. I figured out who the Auburn fans are.
All right.
They're like Democrats. Democrats want the country to fail so they can get rid of Trump. Auburn fans want their football team to fail so they can get rid of Gus. It's true.
Great point.
Oh, gosh.
They want them to lose so they can get rid of Gus.
I think you got everything wrong, Will. Do you think there is any Democrats out there that care anything about winning a football game?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do you?
But they want the country to fail so Trump will get
the
voted
biggest
out.
LSU fan is Carville. That was the big Clinton political advisor.
Now, is he the LSU fan or Arkansas? He's
LSU.
from Arkansas,
He hates Alabama.
LSU.
You know who his best friend is, don't you?
Carville?
Yeah. Clinton and Carville are best friends.
Well, he helped Clinton get elected president.
Yeah,
he was one of his campaign.
Oh, yeah, he was the guru.
He knows where a lot of the bodies are buried.
Southern Miss line's down to 2.
Yeah. Stick Max Howell's picture back up there, and Coach, the Mississippi State coach. Max, we're going to put you on Facebook around the world. Now, I know you've been disguising yourself over the years. But
Max,
now,
I'm going to put a picture of me and you on
Facebook across the world, Max, and across the nation and across the world.
Saturday afternoon, I'm going to get a picture of me and you at the Troy game, and I'm going to put it on I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. I was like, who knows this fellow?
Yeah, that's right, Max. Will's going to be sitting in the on 4th floor. He's going to be on the 4th floor.
Promote the game on your Facebook page.
I'm going to go live on Facebook.
Before the game, though.
Oh, yeah, before the game.
I'll be fiddling around down there. I think I'm going to sit with Dr. Hawkins the first half.
Well, that'd be nice.
Hey, Max.
Look, you got to play all your cards, Mike.
All right, well, we celebrate 30 years of his leadership, and he's been a great leader.
He's done a great job.
Is that right, Mike? 30 years
Yeah,
now.
that's right. Yeah, Max coached at Florida State, and we talk about Taggart all the time, and a lot of people down here where I live in Great Beach, just I mean, who do you think out there right now could take over Florida State's program and turn them around?
I know one right now, and I'll tell you what, he says he's out of coaching, but hey, you let somebody offer him about $70-80 million, and Urban Meyer will be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, he sure would.
Well, I'll be honest with you, his name's already surfaced too soon.
Yeah.
I read a thing yesterday. I think his wife finished at Tennessee. I think that was his connection.
Well,
I know it is with Kiffin. I know Lane Kiffin's name surfaced, and that's where he met. I think his wife was attending University of Tennessee when they met.
And Kiffin did a good job the year he was there.
I'm trying to think of who would be good.
I mean, Florida State. I mean, the Norval guy at Memphis is a really good young coach. I just don't know who Florida State.
That's a great question.
Well, I'll tell you who Tennessee.
They need to hire Peyton Manning.
You're right. The Tennessee needs to hire Peyton Manning.
Talk
He's
him
exactly
into it.
right.
Do it for Mama. I know he doesn't need to do it.
With all that, Mike? Why would he put up? Why would a guy like that have to put up with all the garbage?
Because he loves the school and wants to serve it.
And Brett Favre is going to be the new head coach at Florida State. Brett Favre.
Peyton could do it. I don't think.
But we were talking yesterday, about all these great quarterbacks that have been great people. At least have represented. It's amazing what these quarterbacks do for our program. They're the difference in winning and losing. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
In football.
But guys, let me tell you, look, Will's in the real world too. There's a lot more that goes into that just than winning college football games. I can't tell you enough until you've been on staffs and been in good programs and bad programs. You don't really realize the stuff that you go day by day have to deal with. Right. And those guys that's already got a wealth of income, why in the world would they even worry about have to satisfy as many people as they have to satisfy? It ain't got nothing to do with loving the school. They can still love the school and contribute $1 million a year, but they're not going to sit in that administration and take the graft that those guys have to take from time to time.
Yeah.
They do the statement approach. Say, I'll take it, but this is what y'all are going to do.
Max, I'll tell you another one that's sitting back and enjoying life, but if about 50 or 60, $70 million came up, Bob Stoops would be hauling somewhere too.
Yeah, you're right. He's still a good football coach.
He's the new head coach of the XFL in Dallas.
Who's that? Danny Cannell?
Bob Stoops.
No, Bob Stoops will be an XFL coach starting in February for Dallas, the Dallas franchise.
Yeah.
There's no question.
The new football league.
Yeah.
He's just fooling around.
But it's a shame. I hate it for these Florida State people because they were proud, but they're getting to be it's getting to be rough now.
Well, look, they made the wrong decision. I think anybody that really tackled the record for what he had he rode in on a rehab boat when he turned some programs around, but check his overall win-loss.
Yeah.
His overall win-loss is like 60%. Now, rightly so, in South Florida, and in Oregon, he ended up with pretty good one-year records.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that's a different world when you step out, in particular coming from the West Coast back to the Southeast. That's a different world.
Look how fast the fortunes of a program can turn, though. Florida State, how fast they've gone downhill. Tennessee, they went downhill and they've never come back here. They just keep getting farther down the hill. It can happen. It could happen to Alabama one day.
FSU won the national championship 5 or 6 years ago.
It did. You're right.
It did happen to Alabama.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, just think about it. After Coach Bryant, I mean, guys, let me tell you, it hadn't done. The end results is what you see in the athletic department. Where all that changes at every school, Texas, Southern Cal, Ohio State, Alabama, every school has been at the top. Check when the downfall came. It all starts with the administration, the board of trustees.
You have convinced me on this theme. You build on it every week, and I think you're on to something.
But you know what? It's not any question who the 6 best teams are in the country, and the rest of them fall off the side. Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. Those are the top 6 teams. It'll be one of those 6 teams that'll play, be in the Final Four.
Probably so.
Of course, Max Howell's with us today, and of course, Max, tell us about who you like right now this week. It's probably like Mike mentioned. Yeah, there you are, Max. So you look like a Hollywood movie
You
star,
got some
Max.
Ray-Bans on, Max.
Who does he favor? He favors somebody I know.
Looks like a movie star.
Paul Granger, I believe. Max, this is a good picture, man. Now look, what we want you to do, we want you to take that picture. We want you to do a Mike Amos fundraiser, and we want you to send out a bunch of photos and autographed photos, and I get all the profit.
Well, Mike, go ahead and set the booth up down there on the sideline Saturday.
Max, I know I'm going to embarrass you when I say this. I want to be just like you when I turn 80.
I know it.
Max, you probably in better shape than any 80-year-old out there.
He's in better shape than any 7-year-old.
I was the other day, so
You and Jim Tompkins. We need to ride down to see Jim Tompkins. He turns 82, don't you think?
Yeah, he does. I think he's right there.
Good, Max. How old is
Mike, it's all a result of clean living. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, let me ask you this: do you watch what you eat real closely? What do you think the secret? What do you think the secret to your health is? I know you do push-ups every morning.
I still, I walk 2 or 3 times a week, 3 to 5 miles, and I still, I eat right. I try to get 6-7 hours of sleep every night. I used to get 4.
Well, what are you talking about eating right? What do you eat? Fresh vegetables?
It's volume more than anything else, Mike. I don't eat, where I used to eat fries and French fries and hamburgers and all that. I may eat a half a sandwich and drink a glass of sweet tea or something like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't eat for 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
Also. And on top of that, I'm driving 1,000 miles a week. So,
that's right.
Accommodation.
That's a handsome guy, ladies. And he is available, ladies. Ladies, he's available.
Mike, I got great genetics too now.
Yeah.
Both my parents, both my grandparents on both sides were in the 90s when they died.
Yeah.
My uncle was still flying an airplane at 95.
Oh no. No question.
So
I've known you a long time, and I know you still work out. You always have worked out, haven't you?
Yeah, I do. And like I say, I've been fortunate. I hadn't had the flu in 20 years, and I don't ever remember having a bad cold.
But all of this greasy food you eat, I mean, what's for dinner, Max?
I eat all that stuff, Mike.
Max, I've asked you a personal question. What's for dinner? These people don't care what you say about sports. They want you to know what you're going to be cooking this weekend.
Well, again, it's bird season in Mississippi right now, and we did last weekend. We did quail. We did dove breast wrapped in bacon, little jalapeno peppers inside. And I always say throw a few ribs on there just in case, and I'll do some Polish sausage with that as well. But I'm gonna do the wild game stuff as a base from now on next spring.
Do y'all have Kanaka sausage or Kelly sausage over there?
I got a guy out of Montgomery, just out of Montgomery, Alabama, Amos. He sends me a case on a regular basis.
What, Kanaka or what?
It's called the Amos.
The Amos sausage. Never heard of it.
1920. In the same building since 1920.
All right, why don't we start promoting the Amos sausage, ladies and gentlemen? If it don't say the Amos sausage, believe you me, you don't want it.
Well, here's the deal. Let me tell you guys, you can't buy it. They only do mail order. You can't buy it in the grocery store. Ask Judy Morgan about it.
Okay, and it's Link sausage. Is that right?
Link sausage. They got mild and hot. And guys, if you like the hot stuff, it's good. It's laced with red pepper flakes, and I mean it's good.
Will Max left something very important off his dove supper. What did he do? Will, you know, I was going to say grits.
Grits, yeah.
Hey, those hot grits, grits and fried dove breast. Surely you don't pick that bird. You just grab that breast and pull it off, don't you?
Yeah, we skin them. We skin them.
Oh no, do y'all really?
We do them on the grill. I don't deep fry them.
Yeah. What do you wrap them in bacon, or what do you do?
We wrap them in bacon and open them up and put jalapeno peppers inside.
Exactly. Of course, Max Howell ain't noted.
When the bacon's done, the breast is done.
You know that picture we were showing up here, man.
What is the size of a dove breast? I can't even remember.
All right, the early season, the birds are not quite as big, but the second season they're bigger. Because they had all that to eat, you know.
Because they escape.
Yeah, exactly.
The second season.
Ladies and gentlemen, that picture of that man on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, not only is he single, but he can cook. That man can cook. Is that right, Max?
I do it, man. That's my pastime, and I really enjoy it. I'll be honest.
If you would like a copy, autographed copy of that picture, just send it to Mike Amos, P.O. Box 527, Troy, Alabama, and a check for $25 paid out to your favorite charity.
Max, do you have any more of your cookbooks ready to go?
Now I got one ready, Michael, but I've been so busy with this new industry. I'm trying to. After the first year, I'm gonna try to get the next one's gonna be my last one. It's a cocktail table copy. It's gonna have 1,000 recipes in it.
Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Tell me about this oil, OIL, that you've been promoting all over the country.
Well, we did the CBD oil situation. I got two set of financial backers. One gets me on the road every day and gets me to open up new accounts. The other was a distribution company that I'm partners with are both pharmacists. And we do nothing but the high-end stuff. Everything we sell is bar-coded. We got all the lab results available by batch. I can set you up for $2,500 in a small retail outlet and guarantee you 35 to 40% profit.
Oh, man. I tell you what, bring some more samples with you when you come.
Yeah, I'd like to see some.
Yeah, you put it underneath your tongue.
I'll tell you what it does for me. Fortunate enough, I ain't had any, I'm pretty healthy. I don't have it. But I do take a drop or two every night. It relaxes my body, and I sleep. I can sleep now. When I lay down, a minimum 6 hours.
And that's great that you don't wake up during the night like that.
No, I don't.
A lot of people that have migraines have had unbelievable results with CBD.
That's true.
Yeah, migraines.
Depression, a lot of that, that stuff. And then, it's now the regulations are coming with the FDA, and I welcome that. But mainly because there's so much garbage and cheap stuff on the market. I can't wait till they get off. Louisiana, I just got my license. Louisiana now charges a license fee to come into that state and sell. That's the first step. The next step will be the FDA taking over with minimum regulations to get the junk off the street. So it's evolving regularly. And that was one reason I went with the pharmaceutical side, because they've already been in the pharmaceutical business 25 years. They understand regulations, and nothing we put on the market will be snatched. I can promise you that.
Well, they're currently growing hemp in Alabama. It's legal to grow it now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was with the only processing plant in the state Monday this week. Yeah. That's up in Coleman. But there's some other stuff coming, guys. Some big time. That meeting I'm coming to in Troy is all about that business. Yeah. So
would you? Are you giving out any phone calls or anything like that to get people to get in touch with you about this?
Phone number?
Yeah. Right now I got a website. It's called hempsolutions.com, and you can go to that and look at. I don't have any pricing on it, but it gives you it's a content page, and all my contact numbers there.
That's right.
And then, of course, the marketing company that I started 7-8 years ago handles all the marketing for that company and several others across the South right now. So,
Max, have you gotten up with those two guys in Florida? I gave you their numbers.
Yeah, I've got their numbers, Will, but I've been so tied up on the road. I need time to sit and talk with those guys. I really do, but I do have the contact information. I appreciate that.
Oh,
Max, what do you think about the Troy Southern Miss game? What do you think?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good Troy to play. I think one of their best ball games. Southern Miss got a pretty good football. They got up the state pretty well.
They always are good. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have enough talent, to stay on the field, the depth talent. And I say if Troy can get to the third quarter, I think they'll be okay. I really do. I'm excited about the game for them.
Max, let me ask you this. This is another personal question. A girl I was talking to you the other day, I said the Dixie Darlings are going to be here this weekend. She didn't even know who the Dixie Darlings were. I'd never heard of the Dixie Darlings. But as long as you've known Southern Mississippi, you've known who the Dixie Darlings were. Is that right?
Listen, I was recruited heavily by Southern Miss coming out of high school. Pi Band was a head football coach, married a girl from my hometown.
Yeah.
And consequently, I was high on their list and all, and I ended up not going. But yeah, that was one of the draws.
They're ballerinas, they're high steppers, ballerinas, and they're world famous. They used to go to the Blue-Gray game every year.
Right. See,
Max, when did Southern Mississippi go from Mississippi Southern to Southern Mississippi?
Oh, I don't know. It's been 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it used to be Mississippi Southern.
Exactly, no question about it.
But I think a lot of it was the same time, guys, when Troy went through that transition with name change.
Yeah.
And you know, for years and years, everybody knew who the Dixie Darlings were and didn't know who the football team was.
That's exactly right.
But they do now.
I'm surprised. So the overall record in the Mississippi State Southern Miss Series is 15, 14, and 1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was 14, 14, and 1 Saturday.
Yeah, that's incredible to me.
I can still remember that number 4 going into Florida State and beating Bobby Bowden that time. You remember that?
I think they beat Alabama 4 times at least.
That was the first year I left. When I left that staff with Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And I remember we played at night that opening game. I sat and listened to that game, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I could not believe. But there was a quarterback down there that came through about that time that kept their,
named Brent Favre.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And I tell you something that people are going to laugh at when I say this. Probably the best team in the state of 2 or 3 years was Mississippi College. They found out they cheated. They won a national championship, and they found out they cheated. They, of course,
no, Mike, they didn't do that.
Well, they just had a little bit more scholarships than anybody else had. But they had to give their trophy back. Those at Baptist school had to give they had won the Division II national championship. Max, back then, their offensive line was unreal how big and pretty they were.
Well, it was. I mean, look, they whatever it took to get them there, they did it.
Yeah, that's right.
Matter of fact.
And you know what?
But
they went from being.
But just remember, guys, there's not but 2 kinds out there: the caught and the uncaught.
That's right. And you know what? They went, Max. They went from a very well-respected Division II team to a Division non-scholarship Division III.
Yeah, well, they shut down for a while.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was. Remember the church that the backing from the churches that they were getting, they all pulled out.
Now, Sanford University and Howard College never ever cheated, and they were a Baptist school. They never ever cheated. Is that right?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Bowden, when he came to Howard College, he brought that entire team he coached in Georgia with him, didn't he?
Georgia. That's right.
And you had to play against them, didn't you? No question. Max, thank you so much for being with us today. And, of course, as always, I know you're busy, but we do appreciate you very much, my friend.
Thank you, guys. I look forward to being there with you guys.
All right, listen.
Yeah, we'll see you Saturday. See you Saturday, Max.
Look for me when you come in. We'll see you.
I'll do it.
Bye-bye.
You call. Talk to you soon.
That's Max Howell calling in right there. And Mike, let's leave Mike on. Mike, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this celebrity that we have over here to the left is a guy named Will Matthews, and he is owner and operator of the Matthews Law Firm located on the square in downtown Ozark. That firm has been there for how many years?
63 years.
63 years, and you took over from your daddy. He was a Tennessee lawyer. Is that right? He had a coon dog next to him.
He was the head cheerleader at Tennessee when they won the national championship in 1951.
How about that?
And that was back when the general was
General Neyland.
Neyland. And he probably knew the Majors boys, too. They were about that time.
Majors was later. Majors came about 55.
Yeah.
56.
Does this scare y'all? They have caught a record alligator out of Lake Eufaula, 14-foot, 720-pound monster alligator.
Wow. Out of Eufaula? You mean I can't
I hope they killed it.
You mean it'd be dangerous to go skiing and you fall on?
Well, I mean, I'd always heard there was alligators at Lake Eufaula, but I didn't know there was anything 14 foot over 700 pounds.
Well,
to answer your question, yes, that scares me.
That'll get the job done.
But now
apparently they have they killed it. Some guys from Georgia killed it. I guess they have legal alligator hunting in Georgia and Alabama now.
Yeah.
They have certain times if you have a tag, you can do it.
And now, let me tell you, Steve's going to fry an alligator this weekend, I hope.
I'm hearing rumors that Steve's cooking a whole hog. Now, if that's the truth, I need to go hang out.
He's a old hog. And ladies and gentlemen, you eat old hog like this, you reach in and you grab it and you pull it off and you eat it and then you wipe it off your face. That's the way you eat wild hog.
No, I'm going to take your word for it.
Will, I know you're staying busy. Do y'all specialize in, I know you handle a lot of divorces.
Family law is what I do.
Family law?
Yeah, divorces, adoptions, that type of stuff.
All right, now, which side do you support usually, the man or the woman?
Whichever one brings me the money first.
Exactly.
I do both.
What about wills? Do you do wills?
Yeah, we do wills. We do probate stuff. Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna get you to do me one before long. I think everybody needs an up-to-date one. No question about it. And of course, the Matthews Law Firm. What's that telephone number, Will?
774-8804.
Your little brother did my will.
Warren.
Yeah. Oh, you know Warren?
Yeah, he's Struggle Brothers.
Somebody told me he's bigger than Will. Is that right?
He's a power forward, man.
Yeah, he's 6'6" and weighs about 280.
Now, can he hit a guy fall?
He can hit it, but he don't know where it's going.
He's younger brother, isn't he?
Right. I'm 10 years older than him.
Your daddy spent a lot more time with him, with you than he did with him. Is that right?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, y'all played in four balls all over.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah, I was.
Were y'all? Let me ask you this: the two guys out of Depuniac, McCall and Supple. Yeah, they were great four-ball teams. Was you and your daddy considered one of the great?
Oh yeah.
Football champions.
We won Troy. This is funny now. We won Troy one year. And back then, number 1 and 2 at Troy were par fives.
Yeah.
Well, we teed off on number 3, which was the par 3.
That one that sloped so bad.
All right, so we come around and we finish 18, and we're going to 1 and 2 to finish up, and we're like 2 under. And my dad said, "Now, Will, we don't need to birdie these two because we'll be in the bottom of the A division. We don't need to do that."
And they have what they call a
Calcutta. I said, "Well, let me tell you something. I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do, and if you don't want to play these 2 holes, you can sit in the bar."
Wait a minute, you didn't talk to your daddy like that,
I did
you?
too, because I didn't believe in that. Anyway, so on number 1, I hit it left of the green, and I had a hard little chip over a hump down to the hole. And I flopped it up there, and it went in the hole for an eagle.
Oh, God.
And then the next hole was a real short par 5.
And it had the big tree in the middle of it.
Big tree in the middle, and I boomed one down there, and I had a sand wedge to the green.
Yeah.
And knocked it up about 2 feet from the hole and eagled that one.
Oh,
so we ended up 6 under par. Well, he was mad as hell, too. We were at the bottom of the A division.
Look at the alligator, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. Man, we got everything on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up close with it. Let's see if you can come up close.
But the next day, on Sunday, we bought ourselves in the Calcutta. I had 9 birdies the next day, and we won the tournament and won the Calcutta. And of course, he took credit.
Look at that alligator.
For winning. He helped me 1 stroke, I think, maybe 2.
Now, Steve, are we going to eat the alligator tail, or are we going to eat the whole alligator?
I'm going to get in Lake Eufaula when I've seen that picture of my
especially skiing.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he's dead.
I've heard there's a lot of gators over there.
I've heard that too. See, the one side of Eufaula doesn't have many houses, and that's where most of them live, on the other side of the lake, the Georgia side.
The gators are getting out of control, in my opinion.
But
people think the fall PGA golf schedule starts this weekend. The Greenbrier up in West Virginia will be played. So you'll be able to watch golf this weekend.
Now, that was the smartest thing they've ever done, because you remember they'd always play the California tournaments the 1st of January. Now they're going to play them in November and December. Is that right?
Well, they're playing them right now in September.
Okay, where is this one?
West Virginia.
It's at the Greenbrier in West Virginia.
Okay, now this is my buddy's course, isn't it?
Trump.
and it's my buddy's course.
The governor of West Virginia owns
Bubba Watson owns a home there.
Yeah. Well,
Mickelson's got a home there.
I'm talking about Mickelson. He's a big Greenbrier guy.
He's got a home there.
All right, now I know you're an uppity type guy, Will, and you're what you call it, Mike. What do you call Will? What would you call him? Not just uppity, but he would be called a.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah, but he high society. Well, he would love to go to this tournament. Have you ever played it very much, Will?
Greenbrier?
Yeah.
I held the course record there for 25 years.
Well, don't be telling us that, Will. People are just not going to believe it, Will.
Oh, it's true.
I mean, you claim to be the third best domino player in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have anything on paper that'll justify that?
I do.
We're about to go off the air. What did you shoot at the Greenbrier?
I shot a 63 on the other course where they had the Ryder Cup. And for years, it stood as the course record until they had a senior tournament up there, and some guy shot a 62 in a senior tour event.
Did you play on a college meet or something?
No, it was on my honeymoon when I got married in 1982.
Man, oh man, ladies and gentlemen, you hear it first right here. On his honeymoon, he shoots a 63 at Greenbrier.
And I was playing with the president of Standard Oil Company.
Oh, gosh. Wait a minute. This is the guy from Ozark, Alabama, playing with the president of Standard Oil.
That's by far the nicest place I've ever stayed in my life. Really? The Greenbrier. It's nice.
I've heard it was real nice. It's in the hills of West Virginia.
It's in the middle of nowhere in West Virginia.
Yeah.
White Sulphur Springs is what the name
no
of it.
question about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our show. We're going to run it again today at 1:30. Will's got to go to court, but we're going to go eat some breakfast first downtown if you want to. We're going to Birds. Oh, wait a minute. He's already had his Chick-fil-A. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm surely he's brought us some. So we're going to eat Chick-fil-A because surely he brought us some.
Surely not.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Will, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to come up for the Troy game.
I'll be here Saturday afternoon.
All right, brother. We'll see you then. And hope that you've enjoyed our show. We'll see you for tomorrow for the picks of the week. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll give you the results of what happened last week.
Right here on the show. Pick six.
And where was your pick at show? Are you going to give it to us tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow.
I'll give you six games against the line tomorrow, so that'll be fun. Hope you enjoyed our show. See you tomorrow, bright and early for Today in L.A.